Gorgoro reacted without hesitation. He drove his axe into the first assassin's abdomen, who was instantly scorched by a violent electric discharge. In the same motion, he closed in on the second, struck by a paralyzing bolt. The orc finished him off without mercy. I look up and see a dozen more mercenaries running up the road that leads to the doors of the Kernak house. Their leader is angrily urging them to finish me off, while even the most curious bystanders have now fled to safety. The local bouncers and guards have withdrawn, probably having been bribed by my foe. Just then, when all hope seems lost, my companions finally arrive and join the fight, along with some of the braver travelers who seem to resent the fact that the patrons of this place are being harassed by common assassins. A bloody skirmish commences. As my crew engages in a bloody melee, Finndurarth and I are targeted by a few mercenaries who have broken away from the main group. All around us, the fight is escalating as my people try to reach me and the envoy. Once again, Gorgoro charged the nearest enemy, bringing his axe down in a powerful vertical strike. His target was pierced in the liver by Renkailon's sword, then stabbed in the back by Harvek's dagger, just before a surge of electricity struck nearly all the foes. Garrik raised his arm, and a bullet slammed into the chest of one of the two assassins, just as Harvek hurled his dagger. Garrik's target died under the impact of two throwing knives from Renkailon. Last but not least, he withstands better than his companions. Cornered and surrounded, the last orc endured a flurry of blows before being finally impaled by Harvek. The last of the mercenaries drops dead, and the victors begin going through their belongings for anything valuable. I can see that during the fierce melee, the leader of the assassins was also slain. His dead eyes stare up at the sky, his mouth contorted in his final agony. Most combatants suffered at least a flesh wound or some bruises, so now people tend to their injuries as the local guards begin securing the area. I nod at some of my companions who looted the corpses. The valuables will find their way to me later. For now, I look over at the Dragonkin envoy, who is sitting on a low stone fence, bandaging a cut on her leg. But Harvek caught my attention before I could speak to her.
Hey boss, that dipshit there is an old acquaintance of mine.
Harvek discreetly pointed out the leader of the assassins to me.
Or, well, was an old acquaintance. I was looking for him to settle some scores, and it looks like Irafons was kind enough to place him in our way, and under our boots. Anyway, I just wanted to say, I owe you thanks for hunting down one of the bastards on my hit list.
He grins and stomps on the skinny mercenary's face out of spite, then stalks away. Finndurarth nods as I walk over to her.
Thanks you for protecting me, Vagrus. Believe it or not, this was in service to the Dragonlands. Although I have to admit that I am more grateful on a more personal level. It has been too much of surviving attempts at my life lately. Too much of assassins and ambushes. I'm sure you can understand.
She looks at the remains of the mercenaries and is about to go on speaking when she suddenly sees something, limps over to the corpse of a goon and checks a tattoo on his bicep. Then she steps over the body and checks another one, then another.
This tattoo, they all have it.
She is right. Most, if not all, of the mercenaries wear the same tattoo, a black ink depiction of an 8-legged horned lizard. Neither of us knows anything about the symbol or the organization it belongs to, but someone surely does. What are you going to do now? She sits back on the stone fence and thinks for a while about my question.
Unfortunately, the death of the guide means that my mission is a failure. I have no idea where the meeting is supposed to take place, not even a region or a city to start looking. That ship has sailed, as the old saying goes. So it seems to me that I won't be able to complete the mission. I might as well give up, right?
She sighs, clearly debating what to do.
I have to see this through, no matter what happened. I can't go to the meeting, yes, but I can go into hiding and investigate the assassins who were sent after us. There really is no other recourse. If I go back to the Dragonlands without something, anything, it will be looked upon as a failure, and I won't let that happen.
She seems determined. I have to give her that. She turns to me, after a moment of hesitation.
But I also know that it is unlikely I'll succeed on my own. I'm not a seasoned traveler by any stretch of the imagination, and my investigation will require all kinds of expertise I don't possess, not to mention people who can fight. I would also need coin to fund my travels.
She gave me a kind smile.
So I was thinking that I could stay with your comitatus and work for you for the time being. And who knows, perhaps I could conduct my investigation during our travels. What do you think?
Mages aren't just a legend after all, and having her in my service might very well save our lives. I'd be glad to have you.
Thank you so much, Vagrus. That's the best news I've heard in a long while. I swear you won't regret it. You know that my sorceress and academic skills will be at your disposal, and I'm also quite handy in a negotiation, as well as in a fight. Oh my, I would hug you, but I don't think that would be appropriate. Don't mind me. I get emotional at times like this. I'm just really happy and looking forward to our adventures together.
She rises from the fence and sets off towards the comitatus at a brisk pace despite her wounds.
As for the investigation I'm about to embark on, let's talk about it when things calm down, all right? I may have some ideas on where to start.
Disappointing as always, Kernak Way Station is really a destination I should avoid. Since the route is not profitable, I decide to divert the journey toward Terathion's Fall instead of Torzag. Shortly after we cross into Terathion's Fall, Garrik pulls me aside. He seems to be a little more humble than usual.
There. That's where I hid my treasure at the foot of one of those spires.
How would you like to proceed?
Methinks it's best if we assemble a wee search party. No need for leading the whole sodden comitatus into those narrow gullies any further. Thus, a good mate. Now follow me, if you'd fucking please. Trust me, I know the way.
Garrik takes us on a long, meandering path through the maze of ever-present rock pillars. I try to keep track, but after a while, I get the impression that my companion is deliberately leading us astray and confusing us. Most likely, he does not want us to find this place later for some reason, which is quite crazy, given that he is the one who has led me here in the first place. Of course, Garrik never behaves predictably when it comes to guarding his riches. As we press on and turn a corner around one of the pillars, I find myself in a narrow ravine. Garrik stands in the middle of this canyon, his pistol at the ready.
We're close now.
Then I hear a howl from above, and Garrik spins around.
What was there?
A predator, without a doubt.
2 pitch-black, four-legged reptilian shapes appear on the surrounding cliffs and begin their slow, threatening descent towards our group, hissing as they approach. I have happened upon black Krawags and must stand our ground against them. Garrik cocks his pistol.
Now come on then, ye bastards.
Harvek was the fastest. He leapt forward and drove his dagger in, just as Renkailon hurled a knife. Gorgoro charged through the Krawag's acid breath and struck with his axe. Garrik, his face contorted in pain, raised his pistol and fired straight into the flank. Though wounded, the Krawags showed unexpected agility, dodging several attacks with disconcerting speed. Garrik reloaded his weapon as toxic fumes filled the air, but it seemed to have no effect on Gorgoro, who struck again with fury. Suddenly, Garrik collapsed, his lungs overwhelmed by the acidic vapors. Taking advantage of the distraction, Harvek and Renkailon flanked the creatures. Gorgoro held his ground under a hail of blows. With a mighty strike, he cleaved one Krawag in two, his axe dripping with black ichor. Enraged by the death of its companion, the last monster turned its fury on Gorgoro, but in its frenzy, it left an opening. Cornered, wounded, and disoriented, the monster was attacked from all sides by the three fighters until Harvek impaled and finished it off. I rushed to Garrik, who's coughing violently to expel the toxins from his body. He'll make it. He then spits on the carcass of the last beast, which is still twitching in its death throes.
What a shitty day to be looking for me stash. Never would have thought to encounter critters like these here.
Come to think of it, I have never heard of black Krawags haunting the southern range of Terathion's fall either, nor any imperial lands so far from Dragmalak.
Anyhow, me buried stuff shouldn't be too far now.
No way I'm letting precious resources go to waste, so I decide to skin both carcasses.
How did two Krawags make it this far into my lands?
I'd really like to know. Nah, don't give a shit.
At length, Garrik leads us to a tall pillar of stone. To me, it looks like all the others, but then again, I am not the one who hid something underneath it.
Now we dig.
My cums begin to proceed. It takes half an hour or so for them to unearth a small metal box. Upon seeing it, Garrik is barely capable of containing himself. He jumps up and down, which is something I do not see often.
Yes, that's it. Me friggin' precious stuff.
Just to be sure this is what you wanted.
Oh, indeed it is, mate. You'll get your share once all them shares are tallied.
I take advantage of the well-earned evening to talk with Finndurarth. She is sitting on a rug, surrounded by scrolls and scraps of food. She looks up from a book she is reading and smiles when she sees me.
Good evening, Vagrus. How can I assist you?
Have you had time to think about your future?
So, ready to talk about what happened and what we should do?
She invites me to sit down onto the rug. I do, and she shows me a parchment with the sketch of the 8-legged horned lizard symbol.
We know that these people are professionals and that they can be hired because they foolishly talked about an employer. That employer is clearly someone powerful, and they did not want us to arrive at that meeting. If I can find out who they are and why they took so much effort to oppose the Blue Brood, I can perhaps make this right with the Dragonlands. But I digress. This symbol here is the one we have to go after. We don't know names, but we know the sign of their organization, their mercenary sigil. You don't know who it belongs to either, right? You and I are going to find someone to identify this, and by doing so, we'll learn who these people are. Then we can find them and ask them who their employer is. That is my plan.
I have to agree that it seems like a viable course of action, even if probably a very dangerous one. When I tell Finndurarth that these assassins will more than likely not sit idly while you are spying on them and will strike back, she nods.
Yes, and that is exactly why I need your help. I could not do this alone, but with the help of the Comitatus, we can overcome this. I am positive we can. Unfortunately, as for the specifics, as for where to look for information, I have no clue yet. But you are well-traveled and experienced in worldly matters. Unlike me. Let me know if you have some ideas.
Can you tell me more about your homeland?
Oh my, there is so much to tell. I really don't know where to begin. I do not want to sound like a blind patriot, but the Dragonlands are an amazing place. It is a country of hard-working people, protected by ferocious warriors, an island of light in a sea of darkness. Of course, it is not without its flaws or challenges, but I think people are generally happy there, and that is what counts. I come from the mountains in the north, from a fortress city of cyclopean proportions up among the highest peaks. The constant storms that circle Tempest Peak are drawn by the presence of the Dragonlord himself and are used to enhance our arcane powers.
She smiles faintly, even just thinking about her homeland.
You should visit one day, if you haven't already, Vagrus. Hardworking people are always welcome in the Dragonlands, especially ones with an industrious spirit.
The other day at the tavern, you used magic.
Ah, yes. Dragon magic is quite different from other forms of arcane magic. Essentially, the power is drawn from the flame, which exists in all living beings. But in dragons, it burns with magnificent intensity. That intensity can then be passed on to those who serve the Dragon Lords, while some beings, like many dragonkin, are born with it, like me. However, this innate ability has to be honed and trained in order to gain command over its fickle nature. Many dragon mages were known to have injured or even killed themselves for drawing on the flame too much.
She raises a hand out in front of her, and small crackles of lightning start to emerge around her fingers.
A simple trick, see? But the energy can be shaped almost any way you want it, and bolstered through sheer willpower to destructive potential. And why lightning? Well, the flame of dragons is always manifested in line with their own chromatic nature. What I mean is, the blue Dragon Lord's power is connected to storms and lightning, while the red one's manifests as fire, for example. Since I belong to the Blue Brood, I inherited this kind of magic.
That's fascinating.